All right, here we are. Episode number 1 of the Spot Show podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dickie MadBash, and I would say joined as always by Michael Madrox, but there's not an always just yet because this is literally the first time we're doing this.
This is like a pilot episode. I'm kind of excited.
This is the pilot. So this is something that we've been talking about doing for a while, and we're just doing it. You know,
we're going balls to the wall.
We're just kind of going balls to the walls with it. But I think the thing with you and I is that we have two different outlooks on things, of where I'm very much an overthinker, and not necessarily that I come up with excuses to not.
Can I just put this in a context for your listeners? I told this guy I'm on the way to the studio to record this episode.
It's a good
So
story.
what's he decide to do? Oh, crap. Madrox is on his way. Let me build a dresser real quick.
Let me start building this IKEA dresser.
There's no we.
Let me start building this IKEA dresser that I've had in my garage for like a year and a half. Yeah, I mean, we need stuff to put the equipment, brother. But I think that that's a good way to put it, because like we've been talking about doing this for months, and literally as of this recording, like a week ago, we're sitting on my couch and he's like, "Hey, send me those mics that you're thinking about getting," and he just gets them. So we're here.
I'm the get shit done quick kind of guy. Dickie's the overthinker. Let me think about this, dwell on it, and then get sidetracked by something completely different.
And I think that that's why we complement each other very well with this. And I think that that's why this is going to be, and not to get ahead of myself or ourselves in any way, but I think that's why, this stands to have some little form of success, is because I think you and I complement each other very well. And I think that you're going to be able to rein in my manic energy, because I'm a very manic OCD, ADD guy. Like, it's funny you mentioned the dresser, because it's like I was in another manic moment of like, I'm going to put this together, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And then my creativity kind of goes in that ebb and flow as well. So just based on conversations that you and I have, like privately and in the car, like on our way to shows and stuff, like if you're not annoyed with me by at least the end of February, then I think we're okay.
I think we'll be okay. I mean, your mind is kind of like a paint mixer with all 38 colors of the rainbow mixed in one time. But like you said, we're yin and yang. We pull ourselves together pretty well. I tone down your OCD-ness, and someone's got to pull the reins on Michael Madrox when he goes off the wall with his psychotic craziness.
Well, it's not even... Well, yes, but it's also one of those things of where, like, when we were first talking about doing this, like, I had to break it to you, like, bruh, this is so much more than just talking into a microphone, and then, like, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and you're like... Because I get a hold of Madrox and I'm like, okay, so here's what we need to do. We need to, because I'm the planner, obviously. And I'm like, here's what we need to do. And he's like, dude, just plug in a microphone and talk. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. So literally what we're doing tonight is we just plugged in the microphones and we're talking, because we went through probably 6 or 7 different ideas of what this was going to be. And I still, as of like, we're a little less than 5 minutes into this, and I still don't know what this is.
Because you're veering off the walls again, buddy.
I mean, you got to break the walls down, you know what I mean?
But like, no, we don't want to be cookie cutter. We don't want to be stereotypical. The best way to describe this is a wrestling podcast without wrestling.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to put it, because we obviously, 2023 is a big year for you and I, because we are coming back to the wrestling business. We've been gone, I know, me 5 years. You've been 5 years as well,
yep.
Right? 5 years. Yeah, I left in 2018. And we each left for different reasons. And that is they call me Dickie Segues, because I think that's a good segue into like necessarily like who are we, like why you should care, why you should listen to this. Because my story and Madrox's story, they're very similar, but
completely different.
Yeah, like mine, the reason that I originally left the independent wrestling business in 2018 was because of mental health reasons. And the reason that Madrox left the wrestling business was because of physical health reasons.
Death. To sum it up.
He almost
I caught
died.
the death.
He almost died. And
Twice.
Probably won't be the last time either, knowing this guy. Dude, this guy literally, as of this recording last weekend, we had a show, and I have never seen a human being consume as much caffeine as this motherfucker. You had probably, I want to say, 3 Monsters, a large coffee from McDonald's, and then a Ghost energy, and then did you or did you not?
2 coffee energies
and then
on the
you
way
had
home.
2 coffee energy drinks on the way home. So he ingested like a month's worth of caffeine in one night. Meanwhile, I drink a Mountain Dew and my heart is racing.
Well, in my defense, I also have 4 children that keep me busy throughout the week.
That's not, that's a very good point. And like, so anyway, like, I think that, that's a good starting point for this podcast, is to like, some of you might know who we are by reputation, or you've seen us at shows.
I hope they don't know our reputations.
Oh my God. Well, okay. So then that's actually a good segue there. When the original idea of us getting back into the wrestling business happened, I was a little bit skeptical because like, I know my reputation and I know what has been said about me, and I agree with a lot of it. If I'm being perfectly honest, I was a problem.
Big problem.
And basically, like, I let the wrestling business turn me into a person that I genuinely did not enjoy being.
I didn't enjoy you being that person either.
I was a piece of shit.
Which is summing up a lot because I've known you since you were like 6.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that works with our dichotomy too, is that, I mean, we've known each other for so long that like we have such a good chemistry and everything. However, so
you drank the Kool-Aid. Let's just sum it up there.
Well, I was going to kind of segue out of that and then get back into it, but
no more segues. One topic, one focus, Dickie. Come on now.
I basically like drank the wrong Kool-Aid because I think that there's the right Kool-Aid, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think, because at my core, I am a fiercely loyal human being.
That you are.
I really, really am. Like, I will take care of the people that I really care about. I will stand by the people that I care about. I always have, I said it one time in a promo. Actually, I said the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I don't know where I got that from because, let's be perfectly blunt here, 90% of the Dickie Wabash promos were ripped off from something. Most of the time it was
early 2000 classic VHS tapes.
Yes, or like I think I legitimately word for word ripped off a speech from Breaking Bad one time. I just wanted to be so cool, and I wanted everyone to think I was so cool, but no. So like, yeah, basically, to get to the end of the story, and then we can go back and break it down. Basically, based on decisions that I made, like it put me in a very, very dark place, and I left the wrestling business, and then fast forward to 2022. And this guy is like, hey, we should get back into wrestling.
Slow your roll there. We didn't want to come back to wrestling at first. No intentions.
And I was getting ready to make that point, is that we really did not want to get back into wrestling. it started as a joke, to be perfectly honest with you.
A big joke.
A huge joke, because like, during my time away from wrestling, I did the YouTube thing, I did the Twitch thing. I have the spirit of a content creator in me now and forever, and I'm always going to.
Not the focus. Just
not the focus. Absolutely 100% do not have the focus. And I got, a somewhat good following doing that stuff, but like there was just always that thing in the back of my mind. And like there's reasons that I didn't get back into wrestling that I'm not going to get into. Maybe down the road one day, but no, I'm not going to get in. You
guys hear that now? Episode 100, the Straight Dickie Madrox Shoot Fest.
We're already drawing lines. We're less than 15 minutes into this venture, and I'm already saying no. There's certain things I will not talk about. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. So yeah, it was a joke, and because we both. To put it bluntly, I think that the latter half of 2022 was not good for us.
No, by far.
Either one of us. I think that we were both in a very rough mental place. I went through a very emotional breakup. We both lost someone who is very close to us. It was just not a good spot. So we basically confided in each other and got together we would just watch really, really bad wrestling on YouTube, and we, fuck it. I'm not going to say names, obviously, but we found a company that we were like really making fun of. Coincidentally, they had a show. Madrox gets a hold of them and says, "Do you need commentary?" And they're like, "Yeah." So that's what started our journey.
And then from there, some allegations came out.
I'm not even going to touch that stuff.
This joke became lighthearted and fun, where we just wanted to go commentate over bad wrestling.
It got dark quick.
It went dark quick. All this more storm of social media started coming out, and we look at each other and we're like, no, we're not even touching this. But I'm just saying, if this show would have happened and we would have went, there would have been a great mockumentary.
That was the goal.
That was the goal. That was our only goal, to document this crappy show and turn it into a movie for our own selfish entertainment.
100%. I wanted to make a follow-up to my movie Danville Dreamers. Plug for that. You can find it on YouTube.
DVDs will be available soon.
We are talking about that. Yeah, that's a possibility. But so kind of what I'm doing here is that I'm giving a bit of a summary, and then I want to go back and hit topic points.
That's fine.
Basically. Excuse me. So basically, that falls through, and for good reason.
Yes.
I'm going to put it to you this way. Travis Weir, who will be on this podcast one day.
Multiple times.
He's
the third musketeer.
With the exception of this man in this room, it is impossible to love a human being as much as I love Travis Weir. Like, I will... I have no problem saying Travis's name, but I won't mention the person that told him this. Basically, Travis was telling this person that we were going to be working at this show, and this person was like, yo, like, that's the show that you go to where you don't use your name because you don't want it tied to this company. And then I tell Madrox, I'm like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't. So then we'll fast forward a little bit to...
Fast forward like a week later.
And I know how this guy likes to be behind the scenes. So he is going to kill me for openly talking about how much this man means to me for what he's done to me. Steven Mitchell, Elite Pro Wrestling. God damn it.
That's my boy.
I mentioned earlier about how I'm loyal almost to a fault. I'm a loyal human being by nature. I've always been a loyal human being by nature. And I have no problem in saying that I will go to war for that man.
Absolutely.
Any day of the week.
Absolutely. What Dickie's trying to segue into here because his mind's all over the place is Steven owns Elite Professional Wrestling. Just check him out on Facebook, all their social medias. Even they got their own website. This coming up week from now. Once
when this goes up, it'll be literally like a week and a half.
March 4th at the Washington Armory. AEW superstar Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh man.
Versus TNA wrestling legend Chase Stevens of the Naturals fame. We got to call that, Dickie.
I know, and I'm very excited for it.
But anyway, back to Steven. Steven was looking out for a commentary team, and I just so happened to see it a literal minute after, and I was like, hey, Steven, because me and Steven go back. I've known Steven for 12 years now, and he's always been a great guy to me. I was like, Steven, you know I can talk. You know Dickie Wabash can talk. I was like, we want to come back. Steven gave us a little test without even telling us it was a test.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, boys, let me know what you guys can bring to the table and other ideas to put EPW out in the hemisphere.
And I came to him with a literal notebook page full of ideas.
Yes, we did.
I told him, I said, do not challenge me with ideas because I am going to fuck you up with ideas. And I did. And these are ideas that some of them are still in the works. So
I don't remember the exact date. You probably do. I think it was this January 7th.
It was the January 7th show. I think a week before that we had like a video call with him.
Yes.
And he was like, "Hey, come up with ideas." Literally that next day I had a notebook paper full of ideas.
But we made our triumphant return to independent wrestling, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect a lot going into it. Did not expect a lot. But as the day progressed and we got there, I just want to shout out the absolute best locker room I've ever been in.
No, 100%. And I will agree with you on that. And I just want to get this out there. Like, we're not stroking an ego or jerking a guy off or something because like he gives us an envelope with, our pay in it, which is very rare in wrestling,
especially to have your envelope as soon as you walk through the door.
I know. But no, like we're not doing this because like we work for him and he's our boss. And like I legitimately like it's a good locker room. It's a very good locker room, and we were welcomed with open arms, like to a level that I didn't think that I would be. Because like I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of these guys are new, and I'm like,
I didn't know half the roster going in there.
I didn't either. I've
been out for that long.
I knew of them by the little that we watched.
Yes, we did our homework and watched the past year's shows for EPW before we started.
I mean, you got to know the product.
You got to know.
Dude, funny story. Did I ever tell you the story? I think you've heard the story, but I literally have seen someone, and I will, again, some names will not be said, but sometimes they will be. I just want that to go out there. So this kid got booked and unbooked for a show all within the span of 30 minutes because he refused to watch the product. It was so funny. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the wrestling business.
Going back to EPW now.
I just had to throw that out there.
I'm completely lost and have no idea who you're talking about right now.
You'll know.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
But anyway, after like studying their product for so long, like you get a feel of who the guys are, and human nature, you can judge somebody just by looking at them.
Oh.
And try to get their character. I was blown away because every like, I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple that I was like, oh, this is this type of person. But I mean, 99% of the people, phenomenal. They're all trying to work to better independent wrestling, not just for EPW. A lot of this locker room is traveling the whole Midwest as a unit to different shows, building everything up, building everyone up, always learning. I'm like, where was this back in 2010?
No, 100%. Like the kill or be killed mentality that was like going on back whenever you and I were hot and heavy, like to a certain degree, that's pretty much gone. I feel like,
well, let's rephrase that. Gone from the companies we're
gone
working
from
for.
where we are associating with. There's a couple of places where there's very much this kill or be killed mentality, and it's more of a we just want to not work with anyone and be a problem and yada yada, and old Dickie Wabash is about to come out because I'm about to start shooting. But anyway, no, and like, so, you know, I think that that's what was so great about it, is that we were so welcomed with open arms. And literally, you know, we walk through Matt Maverick, who will be on this podcast,
whether he likes it or not.
Yeah, well, he already loves the podcast, and we haven't even done an episode yet. This is like we told him that we were doing a podcast. He's like, I already love it. But
Tune
anyway,
in. Matt Maverick watched our promo video before we returned to wrestling. We based it off the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool 3 teaser. And this guy told us point blank, I sat there for hours and just watched that on a loop, just laughing at you idiots.
Yeah, so the point being is that he gives me a big hug, and he's like, man, the second I saw Dickie Wabash and Michael Madrox, I knew right away that this was going to be great. So that definitely helped the old ego a little bit. But no, like, and I think that, you know, just talking about the state of the EPW locker room and like how welcoming it is, almost a half hour in, I think that's a good part where we can now start talking about what the topic of this show is supposed to be.
Wait a minute. We have a topic?
Yeah, you were the one that came up with it, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Just the state of wrestling in general. I mean, that's what we want this first episode to be, is just like our opinion on the state of wrestling, and not just indie wrestling, but I think just like, you know, WWE, AEW. I don't watch much Impact or
NWA.
The only Ring of Honor I've seen was the Jay Briscoe tribute show.
We're just going to pick it apart and let you guys know like things we like to watch, things we don't like to watch, and ripcord elbows.
Ripcord Dalton Davis owes me a ripcord spear.
It'll never happen.
He's not going. He'll go, yeah, man, I was gonna go for this ripcord spear for you, Dickie, but then blah blah blah. I can't tell if that was a Dalton Davis voice or a Bo Sawyer voice. That
was
very
definitely
similar.
A Bo Sawyer voice.
I know, right?
You owe that man a jar of peanut butter now.
I used to have a good Dalton Davis, but I lost it. But anyway, yeah. So for me personally, like, I think wrestling is in a very good place right now.
It's hot. All across the board, wrestling is hot.
100%. And I don't know how, you know, as a wrestling fan, you know, we're eating good right now.
Yes.
You know,
you can't flip a channel without seeing wrestling on a nightly TV show.
But here's the important thing, though. Good
and not
wrestling.
Oversaturated.
Yes. And, you know, that goes for WWE, AEW, and then to take it back to our roots, I think that goes for EPW and their two sister companies, Hybrid and Envision. As of this recording and whenever this episode goes live, I know Hybrid has run one show this year. Envision will be running their show coming up.
March 11th, Vincent's Armory.
Yes, we will be there in the crowd to watch the show and enjoy it. But I think that
let's just be honest right here. Those three companies working together and just trying to build everyone up is amazing.
Oh, yeah. We need more of that in wrestling.
I have never seen any independent wrestling company that I've ever worked for try to do anything with any other company.
I have. And boy, did it not work out. Because I like to think that it was both parties. Now looking back on it, we're just like not willing to
Everyone wants to come out
work
on
together.
top
No,
and look better than the competition, but the Midwest Collective is becoming a known. Hybrid, EPW, and Envision. Oh my God, Dickie.
Yeah, I agree. We, like I said, we by the time the hybrid show had happened, we had only done one EPW show. So our second appearance around this group of people was at the hybrid show. Just open arms.
Open arms.
Like open arms everywhere we go. And like, I think that we've said it without saying it, that we just need more of that in wrestling. And like, even to take it to the big leagues, as it were, I think, and this is just me spitballing, like ever since you told me that we were going to be doing this topic, I like to think personally that it's honestly with Vince being gone, there's like less of like, to take it to, like I said, we're in the big leagues now. Like it's almost as if since Papa H took over, there's less cutthroat mentality almost.
Less ruthless aggression.
You need ruthless aggression. But no, I
mean, honestly, to give AEW their credit, I think it all started with them pulling in all these independent guys, these guys from GCW, New Japan. They showed you that, hey, why are we working against each other when we could be putting on a better product for the fan? Which the consumer is your main priority. And I don't care what show you're working on. If you go out there and you're trying not to make that fan happy to the point they want to come back and pay that price tag for that ticket next month, you're doing yourself a disservice.
No, I agree. It's like Jim Ross says in Beyond the Mat, I don't care who wins, I don't care who loses. As long as there's an ass every 18 inches, I'm a happy man.
Exactly.
That was a terrible
That's
Jim
how
Ross.
It should be, though.
No, I agree. And I want to leave you with this, and I want you to think about it because we're getting ready to take a word from our sponsors here. When does the forbidden door be opened between WWE and AEW, and how does it be opened? We will explore that here in just a minute after a word from our sponsors. This episode of the Spot Show podcast is powered by Sewer Layer Toys, located at 3197 South 3rd Place in Terre Haute, Indiana. Guys, let me tell you one thing about Sewer Layer Toys, right? You're going to walk in, you're going to see a bunch of stuff that you want to buy, and you're going to be thinking to yourself, man, do I really want to buy this? Do I really need this stuff? Well, yeah, you do. You're going to walk in there, you're going to see a plethora, an endless amount of vintage toys, of retro toys, of modern toys, of that toy that maybe you had as a kid and you vaguely remember it. You're going to see it there, very fairly priced. Listen, I go in there and I love it. I get most of my collectibles there. Same goes for Madrox. We love these guys. Go in there, tell them the Spot Show podcast sent you, just so that I can prove to Scott that people are actually listening to us and that we are actually worth tying our name to them. I'm joking, of course. Listen, Scott and Andrew are two great guys. They run a really, really good store located in Terre Haute. Again, if you go to 3197 South 3rd Place, that is behind the mall in Terre Haute, Indiana. Go in there to Sewer Layer Toys. You are going to find some really, really good stuff. This episode of the Spot Show podcast is also brought to you by Elite Pro Wrestling. Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing about Elite Pro Wrestling right now, right? I'm going to get a little bit personal about it for a minute, right? Elite Pro Wrestling made me love pro wrestling again. They put on an incredible product. If you want to see what Elite Pro Wrestling has going on, you can go to facebook.com/EPW Elite. There you are going to find a list of upcoming shows. You're going to find videos from past shows. You are going to find everything that you need to know about Elite Pro Wrestling. if you are in the area of Odin, Indiana, or sometimes Washington, Indiana, then you are going to want to check out Elite Pro Wrestling. Some of the best pro wrestling in the state of Indiana, and I truly, truly mean that. So again, go to facebook.com/EPW Elite for everything that you need to know about Elite Pro Wrestling. So I know that I kind of threw you for a loop with that one because maybe this should have been something that was planned, but I mean, I feel like that's just going to be us spitballing. And listen, I just want to say, like, if you don't want to hear us just fly by the seat of our pants and just come up with shit on the fly, I apologize. Go listen to a Conrad podcast where they have every talking point planned. Go watch a Parts Fun Known or Wrestle Talk or Cultaholic video, because we're honestly just going to be two dudes that are spitballing. So this isn't a how Adam Blampier would book an AEW versus Fed show. Like, this is just us just talking.
I don't think we can do anything other than just be ourselves and just
That's all
talk,
we
though.
can be. That's all we can be. Like, I'm not, like, I'm a planner to a certain degree, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. You know,
People are only going to tune in, one, if they like two random guys just jack join.
Yeah.
Or two, if they like some type of comedy every once in a while. Because, I mean, sometimes we're funny.
I like to think more often than not we're funny, but so, you know, we're talking about the state of wrestling, and I proposed the question, like, when does that forbidden door come open between WWE and AEW? Or, and this is going to make it a very short discussion, do you think it ever will?
I honestly, I wish it would.
I think we all wish it would.
Because then you could get some big dream matches, but at the same time, what would it benefit?
And I think that that's really what you got to look at with a lot of this fantasy booking stuff.
I mean, WWE is $1 billion corporation.
Yeah, they don't need it. They made $1 million for the Pitch Black match.
Exactly.
$1 million for 7 minutes. Sorry, but just think about this. So for that match, the time of it got cut at Rumble. It only went like 7-8 minutes. So for 7 or 8 minutes, they made $1 million. So they have proven that for minimal effort, they can make $1 million. So why take the time to book a 3, 4, 5 hour show where you're going to break it down? Because I failed math, but I think if you break it down per time, you know, 7 minutes for $1 million, what do you think the gate is going to be for an AEW versus WWE show?
It would be an instant sellout.
It would be, but I mean, not enough. And again, someone is probably going to call me out for this and say, Dickie, the math on that would come out to about $1 million per every 7 minutes. But yeah, exactly. I think that's, and I'm glad you said that, because people can sit and fantasy book until the cows come home, and they can say whatever they want, and they can book all these awesome matches. We're going to get Seth Rollins versus Kenny Omega. We're going to get MJF versus Miz. We're going to get da-da-da-da-da. But at the end of the day, I understand it's all fun and games. You know, it's fantasy, obviously, but what would WWE have to gain from it? Nothing,
this
really.
Is where it comes from. What are they going to gain? I mean, they put it on the WWE network, $4.99, you get the show.
Yeah.
If they go the AEW route, $50 a pay-per-view buy,
yeah,
AEW is going to get that profit. WWE doesn't want to lose any profit. I mean, wouldn't you rather just have your homegrown talent, like the Pitch Black match, go out there and make you $1 million in 7 minutes? Or would you rather have Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins for 20 minutes and have to split that profit?
You basically just summarized what I've said over the last 3 minutes down into 30 seconds, and thank you very much for that. There's a lot of that's going to happen. So I think pretty much what you're saying here is that, like, I don't think that Forbidden Door ever does come open. I want it to. I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either. In this day and age, like, you got to look past the dream matches. It's all about financial. And neither company's going to want to lose money.
WWE, no, I agree. They could give a fuck less about your dream matches. Now, we're getting it a little bit since Papa H took over, I suppose. But
oh, yeah, because Bronson Reed versus Mustafa Ali was the dream match on my card for many years.
You know, here's the thing, too. I saw this thing on Reddit that it was like, man, Triple H's booking is so good. You mean like when Johnny Gargano came back, and then Candice LeRae came back, and then Dakota Kai came back, and then Io Sky came back, and then Bronson Reed came back? Inside it, out it out. Whenever Hit Row came back without the good one.
Without the good one.
Hit Row was a Swerve Strickland vehicle. We all know that.
Yes.
But no, like, I think that's, I don't think we would ever see it. But if we did, I think it would be the most important wrestling show in the history of professional wrestling. Because I think that the most important wrestling show to date was probably All In, because it proved that a third party can come in and sell out a pay-per-view. But that's a whole nother story.
Nonetheless, I'm going to cut you off there because financially comes back into play.
Yes.
The greatest wrestling show, no matter what company, no matter what, is WrestleMania. It's always going to be WrestleMania.
It's always going to be WrestleMania.
And if the WWE wanted to open that forbidden door and take the chance where fans are going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest wrestling show of all time, you just shit on your biggest show ever.
No, I agree. And so Nick Dinsmore, one time, I did a seminar, and he went around the room and he was like, everyone lined up, and he's like, tell me your favorite. No, I think it was either tell me your favorite wrestling match or tell me the best wrestling match, is how he worded it. Oh, he said, tell me the best wrestling match ever. And everyone was like, Hogan Andre, Steamboat Savage, Hogan Andre. I said Shawn Taker too. Not to pat myself on the back, but I changed the way that everyone else was. But anyway, so then he gets around and he's like, you're all wrong. He said, the best wrestling match of all time is... Now, you got to remember, this was back in 2013 when this happened, so obviously it's changed since then. But he said, the best wrestling match of all time is John Cena versus The Rock. And he said, because it drew the most amount of money.
Yep.
Because I think that's what you got to look at with wrestling, is the dollars and figures of that. So... yeah, I think that you're right, is that, you know, they talk about WrestleMania, the biggest, best show of all time. And I think that that's something that a lot of fans are jaded by, is that it's because, okay, yeah, you said it already. I mean, you can have Rollins versus Omega all day. I want to see that, but and it ties into, you know, we collect wrestling figures. You walk into a Walmart or a Target, who do you see on the shelf more often than not? There's 7,000 Rey Mysterios. There's 700,000 John Cena figures.
A billion Hulk Hogans.
That's what they look at. You know, there's a very small majority, because let's be perfectly honest here. There is a very vocal minority that wants to see these dream matches. But if you look at what's going to make you your money, it's going to be the people that are wanting to see a John Cena or a Hogan or a Flair or an Orton or Roman Reigns for that matter, because there's a reason that they're in those positions. And I think that it kind of ties back into that thing that Rollins got all that heat for not too long ago, where him and Will Ospreay got into
the Twitter war.
Yeah, and it's like, check my bank account and check your bank account. And I was like, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. And like, wrestling now, it doesn't matter how technically gifted you are. You could go out there and do nothing, but as long as you have a character, that's what they're looking for. That's what fans are drawing in. You could go out there and be like, I hate to say this, but Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. He doesn't really have that good of a character or charisma.
No.
But he's one of the best technically gifted wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho.
100%.
All around great on the board.
Goated.
But Chris Jericho is more of a character. He's marketable. Like Rey Mysterio. Like, everyone knows who Rey Mysterio is.
Real quick, speaking of Jericho, dude, Travis Weir, we're just going to say Travis. For the record, whenever we say Travis, we are talking about Travis Weir. So he calls me the other night, and he's like, Dickie, buddy, I just made a realization, and I had to tell you this over the phone. This wasn't a text. The Jericho Appreciation Society logo is a side plate. Have you ever noticed this?
No.
Look at it. Everyone listening, pause this. Google the Jericho Appreciation Society logo. It is a parody of the WWE title side plates.
Nice.
Jericho is, I said it a minute ago, he's goated. He's goated. But anyway, that Jericho stuff, like, it's funny that you bring Jericho up because, like, the whole sports entertainer thing, there's a difference between professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I'm not breaking new ground by saying that. I'm like the 50th person that has probably said that this second. But it's true. And, you know, we talk about the Mysterios and the Cenas and the da-da-da-da. Okay, here's a good example. Do you know who one of the top selling wrestlers on Pro Wrestling Tees is?
You mean the number one selling wrestler on Pro Wrestling Tees?
Is he the number one?
He's the number one.
I wasn't sure. It's Danhausen.
Yes.
Look, I don't know Danhausen personally, and I don't mean this as any disrespect towards Danhausen. He's good at what he does, but he has proven character is what gets you over.
Absolutely.
And
that marketability.
Absolutely. And to bring it back to the original conversation here with marketability with the character, how are you really going to sell AEW versus WWE? Because I think that both companies target a different demographic. And to be perfectly honest with you, if you're going to get an AEW versus WWE show, you're not getting the Rollins versus the Omegas or the Britt Bakers versus the Baileys. As much as we would love to see that, you're getting Rey Mysterio versus Luchasaurus.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. That's not to knock either guy.
It's just going to look good on a flyer.
Because to talk about not having a benefit from it, who do you target? Do you target the hardcore wrestling fans of AEW, or do you target
that with WWE in the picture?
That's my point. But then if you target the WWE audience, I feel like you're alienating the AEW audience because, you know, they're going to be the chanting John Cena sucks, that whole thing. John Cena does not suck. John Cena is one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. But these jaded wrestling fans, this tribalism that is on social media, the fact of the matter is we are not going to see AEW versus WWE. I think we've proven that point. So to be perfectly blunt, I'm not even going to bother making a dream card because it's not going to happen.
Just to throw this out there, we have debunked this whole Super Show, not even based on the booking aspect of who's going to come out on top. Because either way, it's going to make either company look weak.
But that opens another can of worms. Let's just say for the sake of this conversation that instead of WrestleMania, this is happening. Your current champion right now in AEW is MJF. Your current champion in WWE is Roman Reigns. You're obviously going to do champion versus champion, are you not? What do? You
got to pull that Dusty finish with that one.
But on who?
On everyone.
But I mean, think about it. How great would the story be of WWE champion Cody Rhodes versus AEW champion MJF?
Well, Cody Rhodes ain't the champion right now.
But I'm saying, come on.
You got to keep a kayfabe here, buddy.
Come on. We know he's getting it. But no, and I think that's another aspect that you really need to break down. The whole, because we've talked about who doesn't benefit. You look at the booking of it, even if you do 50-50 booking, who's the 50 that goes under?
Well, even looking at the booking, you got to take into fact that AEW has that separate score point bullcrap that they claim with their win and losses. Why would you going to have an extra column on all your social media to remind everybody for a lifetime that, hey, MJF lost to Roman Reigns this one time? Yeah.
And that's a big loss.
That's a huge loss, especially coming from their champion.
But here's the thing with Roman Reigns has not lost since 2019.
Exactly.
To Baron Corbin.
There's nothing that comes out of this.
Nothing good comes out of
either
it.
company.
So I apologize to whoever's listening to this that was ready for us to be like, oh, the Young Bucks versus the Usos. And then we're gonna get the no.
There's no point.
And I will be the first to admit that I am wrong. If this does happen, if a Super Show does happen, I will come on this podcast and I will eat a hat.
Legit, eat a hat.
I will eat a hat.
I will deep fry you a hat.
I am a balding gentleman. I wear hats all the time. I have plenty. But yeah, so then to bring it back to indie wrestling on that aspect of it, on the micro level, because we've talked more about the macro level of it.
Let's scroll this area. We're talking a lot about characters.
Yeah.
Let's just go our local independent wrestling right now. Indiana. Yeah. Indiana, Illinois, Ohio.
No, 100%.
What are some of the indie wrestlers out there right now that actually have a character that can be marketed?
Clayton Clark.
Cowboy shit.
Listen, here's the thing, because I know Clayton's going to hear this. Like, get ready, because we're going to put you over every time we talk. I love Clayton. I love Clayton so much. He's such a good guy. And I'm not just saying this from I'm going to throw Johnny in there too, Poke, their whole tag team, but not to overshadow him in any way. I'm sorry, Johnny, I didn't mean to do that, but I think they're a marketable tag team. I really, just based on their character work.
Exactly. These guys are going out there creating like movie quality promo videos before every show they're on.
Oh my God. They're just the best. But like, yeah, to put it, but like, that's proof, right? Characters work. Characters work.
Let's talk about our young boy right now. Jared Savage.
I'm going to tell you a little story. So Madrox gets a hold of me and he's like, hey, I got this guy. He just moved from the Pacific Northwest. He wants to make connections, yada, yada. So I'm like, tell him to ride with us. Let's help this guy out. Let's pay it forward. So this guy walks up. This squat guy is about as wide as he is tall.
Square peg, round hole right there.
Square peg, round hole. And I'm like, oh my God. Not to stereotype here.
You were stereotyping.
No, I did. I will admit. I was like, what the fuck did Madrox get me into? Start talking to the guy. Super nice guy.
Humble.
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 Shutting the fuck up, and he is listening.
Humble and hungry.
We're in that car ride, and he's asking us opinions. He's saying, hey, what do you think of this person? What do you think of this place? Should I go here? Should I not go there? So the show comes around, and there's a tryout match to try to get him to see if he would ever get booked. I'm not putting anybody on blast. I'm not. But I'm just saying, he comes to the ring, and all the boys were around the ring. Everyone's looking at him like, who the fuck's this guy? The best character work that I have seen on this level in a long time.
I just love how he shut the fuck out of everyone as soon as he flipped that fucking switch.
He's walking out, and he's just got that walk. And like I said, everyone's just like, who the fuck is this guy? He gets up on that ring apron. Now, keep in mind, there's no fans. There's no marks in the building. It's just the boys watching. He gets up there. He holds his arms out, and then everyone just shut them the fuck up. And wow. And then he just looked like $1,000,000. And like, props as well to Kindle Fire, because he worked a match with that guy where they both came out and they both looked strong.
Yes.
And Kindle did not need to do that.
Kindle did not.
Kindle
could have took this young boy and just said,
and look, I've not gotten to know Kindle very much backstage. It's just I just haven't had a chance to sit down and talk with him, but he earned my respect that night.
Absolutely.
That he doesn't know this guy from fucking Adam. He's this, as we call him, fat juggalo, and we call Jared that with love. We love the guy. He's our guy. And he made him look like $1,000,000 because I think, and not to speak for him and not to assume, but I think Kindle looked at it and he was like, yeah, there's good character here. I like this guy's character, and I can make us both look like $1,000,000 here.
Absolutely. And I mean, I was blown away. Like, I had my doubts because this guy just hit me up randomly on Facebook.
Yeah.
Through a connection I had at my old place of employment.
Yeah.
And this guy spoke so highly of me and told Jared, hey, this is the guy you need to talk to. And one conversation led, and I reached out to you, and I was like, hey, as a joke, I was like, this guy's hitting me up. It turned out to the more I talked to Jared, the better of a person he became to me.
Isn't it?
Everything starts out as a joke.
Everything starts out as a joke, and then we just end up doing it seriously. Like, I don't know, what if we just, take this spare bedroom in my house and paint the wall to look like glass and fucking put up some acoustic foam and put some comic book slabs and then buy some But anyway, yeah, that I think that's what's missing, man, is character work, and it wraps in very well with that conversation that we were just having about the Forbidden Door Dream card and boy, it really, I'm not saying that one is right or wrong. There really isn't, because there is your fan base that's going to want to see the 5-star Meltzer wrestling match and all of that. But then, hey man, who's your son's favorite wrestler?
Which son?
Logan.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
It's not a tough one.
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. I personally am not a fan of Darby Allin. Nothing against him. I'm not a fan of his work. And it's nothing against, he's good at what he does, but it's just not for me.
Exactly.
But the kid likes him. Kids like him. Why do you think John Cena is so successful? Why do you think... Look, how did we not mention Orange Cassidy?
Orange Cassidy's another one.
Orange Cassidy, Danhausen, Luchasaurus. I would say older Jungle Boy before he started using his shoot name. But then to take it...
Pre-HBA gear.
Yes. And then I think to take it to WWE, look at Rey Mysterio. Look at John Cena. Look at
Sin Cara even.
Sin Cara back in the day. Look at, it's just, yes, there is a market for the 5-star Meltzer match. There is also very much a market for the character work. But then to bring it back to what we were talking about, that's where it gets muddy, because how would you pull that off with AEW versus WWE? And we have established you would not be able to, not necessarily from a booking perspective, but just from a business perspective, because
Absolutely.
I'm going to let everyone here in on a little secret, right? It's the wrestling business. It's the wrestling business. You're supposed to make money doing
Everyone
this.
wants to talk about it being a business until it's time to do the business.
Until it is time to do the business. And yeah, I think that, character work is, I think we've established that's very important. Kind of an old school way of thinking, but I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with a little bit of an old school way of thinking. It's just how you present it. Like, we're not going to go on a fucking hour-long Jim Cornette rant about...
Or we could, though.
We could. We absolutely could. Because I have seen some character work on the indies. Oh, man. Bad.
Horrible.
I
Horrible.
saw this tag team, and again, will not say names, who were supposed to be scary boys. They're scary guys. They came out and they got laughed at. You're doing it wrong, brother.
You got to connect with those fans, baby.
You have to. But, man, I think that's episode 1 in the books.
You think that's episode 1
I think that's
already?
episode 1 in the books.
We hit our time frame?
We hit our time limit.
Just the rambling and everything.
And boy, it did not feel like it. So, hey guys, I just want to say this. Like, if you stuck with us this long, thank you so much. We don't know what this is. We don't know what this is going to be, but
it's a clusterfuck.
It's a, pro wrestling's clusterfuck. We are a wrestling show that is not about wrestling, even though today was a very wrestling heavy conversation. Listen, here's the deal. We are going to be available. We're going to be doing episodes every other week.
Bi-weekly.
Bi-monthly. We are not doing bi-weekly, brother. That's 2 a week.
That's fine.
If there ends up being a demand for weekly, we will switch to weekly. We've got ideas, man. We have got ideas all over the place.
There's a lot of content coming from us. Whether you like us or you don't like us, you're going to see us everywhere.
Yeah. But to summarize it up, because I think I'd like to do that. I'd like to give a little summary at the end.
A little summary?
You know what I mean? I think
the Dickie Spotlight
The Dickie Spot. Hey, I think we just booked a segment. We're back in indie wrestling. We are having an absolute blast. Our departure was, which we didn't even get into. I think we were going to.
We were going to. We got segued.
We were going to. I think we're going to get into our departures from wrestling at a certain time. And sorry, but I think that we broke everyone's hearts by pointing out why a Forbidden Door show like that will not ever happen. And if anyone has anything to take from this, character work is very important in today's business. Listen, here's what I need everyone to do. I need you to go to our Twitter and subscribe. I need you to, if we have a Facebook page, which we should at this point.
We should.
Go ahead and like that. Share this podcast with someone that you think would enjoy it. Find us on your favorite podcasting platform. Give us a 5-star review, a recommendation, all of that. Help us grow this podcast. I don't tweet very much, but if you would like to follow me, I am at AttaboyDickie on Twitter. On Instagram, I am also at AttaboyDickie. Madrox.
I don't tweet at all. I got one somewhere. I don't even remember the handle, but I'm on Instagram at MadroxBSB. I'm on everything at MadroxBSB, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I don't even know what else.
Yeah. Hopefully we will, maybe we'll have an Instagram for MadBash Studios. I don't know. We're going to figure that out. We've got a lot like I said, we're literally flying by the seat of our pants doing this. Yeah. Social media, all of that jazz. Review, share with people. Guys, please help us grow this. We need your support to grow.
Even if you
this.
don't like us, share the pod. That's all we ask.
Just share. I don't care if you like us or not, but just
be like, hey, listen to these guys. They're idiots.
We are idiots. But yeah, so for Michael Madrox, I'm Dickie Wabash. We'll see you guys next time.